So what's up, everybody? Hey, another day, man. We're rocking and is this what we're doing?
Yeah. I mean, look at
Okay.
our new set and everything. I'm just
Yeah,
showing
it's
everybody
our
we're in a
new
whole new.
set, man. It's a little different, man. So kind of threw me for a loop, man. That's kind of funny. We have an all new set now with a new producer, and I'll tell you what, I'm excited, man, because our word's getting out and I'm getting more followers each week, man. It's really exciting, man. A lot of good stuff, a lot of great topics. Because me and Doug, we took a couple of weeks off, man. We had a new format, and we're getting ready to rock and roll, man. I'm getting ready to have a little Thanksgiving turkey in a couple of days, and a lot of stuff, man. A lot of good stuff, man. What do you got going on for this weekend, Doug, besides Thanksgiving?
Eating, sleeping, eating, masturbating, sleeping, masturbating, eating. Yeah, that kind of
That's what
stuff.
I
That's
do
what
every
Thanksgiving.
day. Listen, even if it's not Thanksgiving, that's my day. Eating, masturbating, eating. Hey, there's nothing funner than those two things, to be honest with you, man.
Right.
But
I think that's it.
so I'll let you get the first story out of the way, man, because we got some great topics, man. We got to hit them all. Man, we only have so much time, and we need to get rocking and rolling on these right now.
Well, absolutely. The world, especially this country, liberals and other people are all rocked by the Rittenhouse verdict, which anybody who has a legal mind or at least watched Matlock more than 3 times,
It shouldn't even went to
uh,
court.
it should have gone to court. But it's funny how liberals and the left and people just said, "How could this be?" And we got a lot of stories about that. But if anybody who had followed the story and didn't just watch MSNBC, because according to some of those other liberal news sources, Kyle Rittenhouse killed 3 black men who were on their way to church.
That's funny
And
you
stuff
said
like
that,
that.
Doug, because I was arguing with somebody. He's like, "Well, you don't support Black Lives Matter." I'm like, "What does that have to do with this case?" They don't even
Yeah.
know. That's the problem. They're not giving the correct news. I mean, but go ahead. I'm sorry, man. I thought it was funny because
No,
when you
but
said that, it just triggered me.
listen, we all know that the liberal media is full of shit, right? And how great was it when Trump called the fake news and quoted that expression? Because first of all, people thought that the guy Aubrey, the guy who where the Black Lives Matter the protest started from in
Yeah,
Wisconsin, people thought he was killed.
yeah,
People they actually thought the police killed him. And every
and he
time,
was.
even to this day, when you hear their news reporters talk about the story, all they can say is how the police shot him in the back. They don't
Mhm.
say how the guy raped his girlfriend, beat her up, ran, and the cops came
That's
there
why they
because
were
their
there.
family. That's why
Yeah.
they came. And they said he was unarmed, which ended up being bullshit. He had a knife. He had the knife in his pocket. He took the knife. He dropped the knife. Then he picked it back up when he tried to evade the police, getting in the car. And that's when he got shot. Even
He had.
even the
He had.
guy,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, even the
He
guy
had a lot of
himself
verbal
admitted.
commands.
Yeah, even the guy admitted himself he made bad decisions. But they still, well, the hoopleheads in Wisconsin, any excuse to riot, pillage, and fucking burn things, that's all that matters. So that's it. And but if you ask them, they said that it was 3 black men killed. No, it was 2 white guys and another guy got his arm blown off, almost his
And I
bicep.
believe
The guy,
one of the guys, I don't know why he was even on the streets. I think he had a rap sheet with molesting kids. I think it was. I think he was a
young
pedophile.
kids,
Yeah,
3 or 4 kids.
yeah.
These kids, the people that he shot, that killed, were not. People keep talking about Rittenhouse. Why was he on the street? Why did his mother let him on the street? Well, he's a fucking teenager, and last time I checked, my mother never really could keep me in the house, and that's what it's always interesting. Why didn't his mother, fucking mother, and we all know he didn't cross state lines with the gun. The
No.
gun was there. His father
He
lived
had
in
family in
Kenosha.
that town also. He had family in
Yeah,
that town. And you know
so
what?
everybody wants
He thought he was
every
doing a good thing by protecting other people's property. He
yeah,
didn't know it was going to
yeah,
come down to this. And let me tell you something. He's not a bad kid. This kid has done a lot of good. And he felt like, listen, I'm tired of people looting and stealing and robbing, and I'm going to protect. He didn't think he was going to have to shoot somebody, but listen, it's clear as day. There's a reason why he got up. 3 people attacked him, bro. It was that simple. Everybody's seen it. And even that stupid prosecutor, what an idiot he was. Well, why were you running? Because there was a fire. He
yeah,
looked like such an idiot. Like, I was looking at
yeah.
this prosecutor and said, where'd they find this guy? Walmart? He must have been the worst prosecutor I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, if
It
you're
was
going to get
terrible.
mad at anybody, get mad at him. Number one,
Oh, yeah.
and like he said, he had no case. Anybody who has a law background knows there was no case. There was no evidence, and even the prosecutorial witnesses testified, helped the defense. So everybody's up in roar. Everybody's upset about this. But here's the best part. If anything, it's become very evident that our president of the United States, along with the liberal media, were quick to judge.
Oh
And
yeah.
I can't wait. I can't wait to hear the news when Kyle Rittenhouse and his attorneys sue Sleepy Joe Biden
Well, I don't
for
think they
labeling him.
can sue a sitting president. I don't think he could sue a sitting president. But who the fuck is he to have an opinion on anything? This is why you have court systems. This is why you have a justice system. We're in America. This is why you get a fair trial. When the president's commenting, you're not getting a fair trial. And who is he to comment on anything? You know, he has no common sense. He has no knowledge. He has nothing. He has no law knowledge. We know that. And you know what? He's the last person. The last person. I mean, his own son has his own problems. He's the last person
Yeah.
to be commenting on a case. He had no right doing it. Unfortunately, I don't think they can
President
sue him.
Presidents of the United States should never make
Never.
any comments regarding anything like that that could bias a jury and
Of
bias the
course.
press. And in its favor, listen, we all know Biden's a plagiarist. He stole on more than one occasion somebody else's writing and used it in
Oh
his
yeah.
own political speeches. And he, like you just said before the show, we caught him in another lie. He said his house burned down. His house burned down to the ground, and his wife barely made it out. It was a fucking grease fire in the kitchen.
Hey,
And he
it was the same fire George Costanza had in Seinfeld when they put the clown put out with the big shoe. And you know, he always gets caught in a lie, dude. It's like, yeah, and some of the stories he tells anyway, they're so ridiculous. They have nothing to do with corn pop, and like he doesn't make any sense. I just think in his mind, he has a beautiful mind, and all these little visions come out, and he has to tell everybody about them.
Did you hear this story about Satchel Paige when he called him a Negro? He goes,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Negro. And I mean, if Trump did that, it would have been like, oh, you know, there'd been fucking another impeachment hearing.
Yeah, I mean, was he
So
back in the 1940s? I mean, who calls somebody a Negro? I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, it's like this is the president, but listen, Doug. He hasn't done this one time. Do you remember when he was talking about Dunkin' Donuts? You can't go into a Dunkin' Donuts. He had the Indian accent without seeing an
yeah,
Indian. I mean, he's a very racist person, by the way. I mean, it's funny
yeah,
they called Trump racist and he's not. Biden's actually racist, and they never call him out on it. It's ridiculous.
yeah.
And I don't know if
It's
listen. I don't know if he's racist or he's just an old man that says things. You get to a certain age, you just say things. The old man says, "Hey, what Negro?" You know, you get to a certain age. I think he's just old.
Can Biden leave his face alone when he talks? He's always like this.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
mean,
don't
what is
think
he? It looks like he's in a constant state of playing charades. Biden always looks like it's a movie. It sounds like. I mean, what the fuck is wrong? And he always.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. So, at any rate, I like to see. I want to see Rittenhouse get rich on suing CNN, CNBC,
Yeah.
MSNBC, and you know it's amazing because they've had. How is MSNBC even on TV? They had the people they put on there are just completely, especially, and not to say anything, but the black commentators they put on there are so fucking racist.
Oh,
Like this
racist
one lady went
bias.
on. One lady went on there and she goes, "That white boy." Like, really?
Can
Is that
you
you
imagine if it was the other way around?
Yeah. It's
Oh
just
yeah.
amazing to me. And listen, the only thing that matters is nobody watches that shit anyway. So, but it's just crazy. So yeah. So
I think he's got a
Rittenhouse.
great case. I think every lawyer is drooling. You know, after the other guy, I can't remember the other guy's name with the Sandman or
Sadman.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Sadman.
After
Yeah.
him, you know, and he won a lot of money. I think his case is even better. Guy spent 87 days in jail, couldn't get a bond, couldn't get anything, and they were making it hard for him. And they were trying not. Thank God he had a fair judge, and the judge called out that prosecutor many times because that
Yeah.
prosecutor was just way out of line, way out of
Yeah. But
line.
the Black Panthers and the Black Army members outside the courthouse were saying he was bought, he was paid for, you know, that's what happens when liberals actually watch fair justice, you know, actually, you know, it's just amazing to me that anybody, like I said, who has any sense realized there was no case, you know,
No.
the guy was being jumped by a mob. Even the prosecutor said, is like, did you see, what's his name? Fredo from CNN,
Yeah,
Cuomo.
Well,
And he
well, he
says,
looked like an idiot.
he
So
was talking
I,
to the
I, I'm
defense
going to go over
attorney.
it because I know you. It's great. He goes to the guy. He's like, yeah, but what's his name? They were chasing him. He goes, they weren't going to. They were doing nothing to him. Like, well, why would they chase him then? Well, they were probably going to beat him up probably pretty bad, but not kill him. How the fuck do you know what they're going to do? They're going to grab him and have tea with the guy. They were going. They were trying to do body damage. The guy had a skateboard. He was swinging it at him. Listen. It was seen frame by frame. These courts, they watched it frame by frame. and it was so simple. This case was so clean cut,
Yeah.
so easy. I mean, it was such an easy case. It was one of the
Yeah.
easiest cases they've ever had.
Yeah, it was done, and you know what? And then it's funny because then now they're blaming that most of the jurors were white, so you can't win with
Yeah.
this whole thing. But the only thing I will agree with the media, the liberal media, and some of those black African American commentators on some of these channels were that it's going to cause other militant type folks to feel emboldened to shoot
Mhm.
people. And I said, you know what? Especially what's happened just the other day out in Los Angeles with all those people, those
Yeah.
huge those mass robberies, right? When these like
Louis
flash mobs
Vuitton, they
going in
robbed
there.
their Louis Apple
Louis-
store,
Yeah,
Louis Vuitton stores.
yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, I have no problem if that ends up happening. People just sit out there and start shooting these
Yeah.
motherfuckers.
You
You know what I
listen,
mean? I don't.
nobody's getting killed for no reason anywhere. From George Floyd on, no one's getting killed for no reason. I don't care what you say, they're not. There's reasons. You put yourself in danger when you have bad behavior like that. There's a lot of bad behavior. If you're robbing somebody, you might get shot. I mean, it's like Chris Rock has a great skit on it, man. If you behave, you're never gonna have problems, dude. It's when you have bad behaviors when you have problems, man. Listen, if
Yeah,
those guys weren't out there chasing this guy, and who chased the guy with a gun? How stupid do you have to be to chase a guy with a gun anyway? You know, it's
right.
just they think they're above the law. And all these guys robbing, if somebody decides, listen, I've worked very hard to open this store and make a living, I'm tired of this shit. Hey, I don't blame them. I don't blame them.
Yeah, yeah. And
People have
you
had
know,
enough,
I got to
man. There's
pay.
a breaking point.
If I'm going to buy my wife a fancy purse, I got to pay more because some assholes
Yeah,
went out and stole it. And people will say, "Oh, that's not a really big crime. All you're doing is stealing. It's someone else's property." No, it's a precedent. It's
yeah.
chaos. It's disorder. And you know what? Here's the thing: when there is disorder and lawlessness goes up, guess what's going to happen? There's a yin to the yang, and that's
Mhm.
why you're going to have Rittenhouse cases. That's why you're going to have people that aren't going to put
And
up
you
with
you
that
notice
shit.
where these crimes are happening with the robbing of the Gucci person, all that? It's not in Texas, it's not in conservative states, in liberal states. You know why? Because the laws are very laid back and you can get away with it.
Yeah,
Try that shit in Texas. Try that shit in
yeah,
Dallas and see how far you go robbing somebody. See how far you go.
yeah.
How many Gucci purses you can get before you have 4 bullets in your head.
Speaking of legal inefficiencies in Wisconsin, just in the same state, they
Mhm.
had that Christmas parade guy who ran through the parade with his red Ford
Yeah. Killed
SUV
5 people, I
and
believe.
killed 5 people, injured dozens, if not more. And it's funny because on liberal news sources, they won't
You don't
show his
hear about it.
photo because he's black. They
Yep.
won't show his photo because he's black, but they'll put Rittenhouse there and call him a racist and all kinds of shit. But they won't show some career criminal for 2 decades. This guy,
Oh,
the
he tried to
guy
run off his wife last week. A week.
tried.
He's
He
and he had
did try.
$1,000. Did he hit her? I know he
Yeah,
tried. I know he attempted. Attempted.
there was a tire track up her pant leg.
Oh my
You
god!
know,
And he had a
yeah,
thousand dollar bond. And he got $1,000 bond. He got out. How do you get a
it was
How do you get
reduced.
a
It
thousand
was
dollar bond?
reduced. The judge in this case, even the court system has admitted they fucked up, and every family, any member that was killed in that family now has a wrongful death suit against that court system, the judge, and all the prosecutors in these cases. He got out. How could you let a guy like this out that just ran over his ex-wife or wherever it is, a baby? Like this is a liberal fucking state. It's a liberal county, and they feel bad for criminals. This country feels bad for criminals because you
Yes.
make
Yes.
excuses for them. Well, guess what? Make excuse for a criminal. They're going to come and they're going to rape your fucking kid. They're going to rob your house and put a bullet in your fucking head. Let me know how happy or how bad you feel for that person. Just
Yeah.
let us know.
Well, this country has really, really changed, man, in the last 5, 10 years. I mean, 4 years, definitely 3, 4 years. And Trump tried to fix it. And I'll tell you what, if it doesn't get fixed, it's only going to get worse, man. We make excuses for people. We make excuses for people why they don't have things. And we always
Yeah.
make it about color, and it's not about color. There's plenty of successful minorities out there, plenty. And we make excuses why people have to rob, steal, and have bad behavior. And you know what?
Yeah.
There should be no excuse. Listen, if you steal a loaf of bread out of the bakery because your family's starving, I'll listen to you and we can talk about it. You steal a Louis Vuitton purse, go fuck yourself. Seriously,
Yeah.
that's completely looting, and there should be repercussions for it.
Yeah. And speaking of people who made it big, regardless of their color, LeBron James, you know,
Yeah,
Captain Cramps himself, Captain Cramps, I call him.
Mhm.
was ejected from a game against the Detroit Pistons because he cheap shotted.
Yep.
This flopping, this flopping fucking moron
And I love
who
how he
cost
makes
me.
fun of Rittenhouse. He cried after a basketball game. Rittenhouse was facing 30 years for something he didn't even do wrong. I would cry too. I'm a pretty tough guy. I think I would cry too. This fucking pussy, LeBron cries. I've seen him cry 9 times in games already. And he flops like
Yeah,
a little bitch. But go ahead.
and he has menstrual cramps. Like I said, I call him Captain Cramps. LeBron James elbows Detroit Pistons Isaiah Stewart
It was
in,
cheap. I watched it.
it was a cheap shot, and then
Yeah.
how that guy wanted to fucking kill him. They
He
could
wanted to
not
kill him.
stop that guy. He chased him down. He says, "I'm okay," and then he went back again. And it was
I
great.
wish he would have got at him. And you
Oh,
know what? For as
listen,
big as LeBron is, he's a punk because I seen him.
yeah,
I seen several people punk him. I seen another guy punk him on another team. And you know what? Say what you want, but nobody punked Jordan. Nobody punked Jordan. You know, LeBron is a punk, man. He's a great player. Not going to
listen,
take that away from him, but he's a punk. He's a punk,
he
and he
listen.
has
He's
too
a
many
great player.
opinions. Play basketball.
Yeah, no one gives a fuck about his opinions. He doesn't even have an education. You know what I mean? Let's be real. He knows basketball. That's it, and that's all. He's socially inept. And you know what? Enough of this horse shit. And again, then he talked about the guy from the Boston Celtics who's protesting against
Yeah,
China.
yep.
And let's face it, fucking LeBron James. I don't want to hear your fucking horse shit about civil rights when you're going to fucking be the puppet of the fucking Chinese government.
Yeah. You got all
So
these
nobody.
people working for pennies making your sneakers. You going to tell me about
Yeah, fuck
rights?
him. And I made this prediction on my podcast, by the way. It's not that I wish bad things on people, but it's just hitting me like, like a lightning bolt. Something bad, like LeBron James's end will not be pretty. And it's not going to be,
You
it's
know
not going to
what?
be, it's,
They always had
listen,
fairy tale, people. I
no,
don't
no,
know,
no.
man.
Listen, mark this show. Everybody save this show because I'm telling you now, within the next 7 to 10 years, something drastically bad is going to happen to LeBron. And I don't know what it is. It's almost like karma. It's almost like, it's like it's like Alec Baldwin. He's all this, I'm a pious guy, I'm such a good guy. No, he couldn't even check a fucking gun, the stupid ass. He's so fucking smart. He couldn't check if a gun was loaded before he pointed it at somebody.
Well, he's above everybody. He doesn't need to check a gun.
Yeah, and LeBron James, and somebody said to me after this as well, you don't like black. Listen, I love Kobe Bryant. I thought Kobe Bryant was an great athlete. I love Shaquille O'Neal. He's one of my favorite athletes of all
That's
time.
my favorite.
Uh,
Zach and Brady.
you know
My
what I
two
mean?
favorites.
I don't give a shit about it. I'm judging the person, not the color. And
Behavior, man. It's
LeBron,
about behavior. Doug, we talked about this, Doug. This show
yeah,
is not, we call out people not for their color, for their race, for anything. Behavior. Whether you're white, blue, black, or green, if you have bad behavior, I'm going to call you out. There's a lot of great people of all minorities, all colors, and there's a lot of bad people, and we call out the bad, and there's
and
no excuse for
LeBron's just a pussy ass. Let's just
it.
say that.
And let me tell you something. Some of the shit he gets away with, what he says, no other white player could ever get away with this man says. He actually came out in high school, says, I don't like white people. I don't want to hang out with white people. I want nothing to do with white people. Let Dirk Nowitzki say that about black people or Larry Bird. They'd be done. And
Yeah,
there's no reason for it. There should be
absolutely.
no enemies. And races, it should be no enemies. Everything should be about behavior, not about color. That's all it should be about.
Speaking of speaking out and perhaps not saying much, in Chicago, we all know what a beautiful city that is. Chicago area Democrat staffer is forced to resign after linking the Rittenhouse verdict to the Waukesha killings in that parade. So then now they're saying that it's almost justifying, like, let's minimize what this fucking guy did, the evil of what this guy did driving. And you watch some of these videos. He went by this one little girl, the one little kid, probably 2 or 3 years old, was standing there watching the parade, and the guy missed her by about 2 feet, right? And so this person, here's a person that's in politics. This person's in politics, and they're actually saying, well, that's what happens when you let a white boy free. You know what I mean? That's
Can
what
you
happens.
imagine that you're allowed to say that? I mean, I'm for freedom of speech, but that's ridiculous. And if it was the same guy who had a Trump bumper sticker that accidentally hit somebody just because he ran a red light or something, accidentally hit somebody with a Trump bumper sticker, he'd be on every channel, every news channel, everywhere. And you want to laugh? This is not getting the publicity it should get. Like you said, they're not showing his face. Nobody knows his name. Everybody knows Siobhan's name or all these other people's name, but nobody knows this guy's name. I don't know his name.
Who's Siobhan? Isn't that the transgender who's on Howard
Was
Stern?
Siobhan
Uh,
Derek Chauvin? Wasn't he the guy that killed
oh,
Floyd?
Chauvin. Chauvin. Derek
Chauvin,
Chauvin,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
But a Chicago area Democrat operative was ousted on Monday after posting a series of tweets linking the Kyle Rittenhouse to the Waukesha parade killings. You quote, "You reap what you sow, Wisconsin."
That person, you know what? It's so funny how some people get away with saying certain things and some people don't. That person should not have a job because that's inciting. You're talking about inciting violence. That is inciting violence without a doubt. And what
Well,
about
and I feel
Geraldo? Not to get off the subject. Geraldo got called out by Gutfield and I loved it. Geraldo, I used to like Geraldo. He's such an idiot now, man. What is wrong with this guy? He's saying that this okay sign is white supremacist. And like Barack Obama's done it. I mean, he's named like Oprah Winfrey was in a show doing this. It's so
yeah.
stupid. Like they don't even know what they're talking about. They just make shit up.
I want to put a sign, but somebody's going to put it out there. Look, Dougie, he's a white supremacist. But this is okay, right? And I think something like this might be that sign. When you have it upside down. But everybody, hey, he's a white supremacist. No, I think he's saying it's okay. I landed on the moon.
So if I'm wearing a red shirt,
Neil Armstrong was a white supremacist.
He was white supremacist.
I'm here.
So if I'm wearing a red shirt in LA, that means I'm a blood. If I'm wearing a red shirt, I'm just a blood.
Yeah.
It's just so stupid. Like he was really a white supremacist kid. He's 17 years old. He's cleaning graffiti off. He even came out and said he has no problem with the BLM movement. Nothing. It was all about survival. He said this was all about survival, and I believe him. I mean, it's obvious.
Yeah,
he's obviously got acquitted. I mean, let me tell you something. The jury seen this case frame by frame. I seen it frame by frame.
Anybody who watched
it, a lot of people are saying he shouldn't have been there, this and that, and I get it, but I also get another part of it too. If this guy is they said this guy has cleaned churches out and he's done graffiti. He believes in doing good deeds. He thought this was a good deed. I don't think he was there for trouble. He shouldn't have been there. I don't think, but he was there.
Well, that's like you said. If a person's in the middle of committing a crime and bad things befall them, so be it. And if I decided to go to a riot, whether I was trying to protect or anything, the minute I leave my house to attend this thing, that's my responsibility. Yeah. And I'm gonna have to take that if I'm going out there with my AR-15. If a riot's happening here in South Carolina and I said, you know what, I'm tired of this shit, I'm gonna go and get my AR-15. The minute I go, that's my responsibility, and I have to answer for anything that happens from that point forward. The problem in our country is nobody's owning up to their own responsibility. They're blaming everybody wants to blame everybody else for their shit, but nobody's finding their own fucking responsibility.
Doug, I'll make it real simple. If the government and the police departments were able to do their job, this kid wouldn't have to do what he did. If this shouldn't have been to this, it shouldn't have been to the point where they were looting and robbing and doing this. That's why we have a police force. That's why we have a task force. That's why we have all kinds of special ops. Is for situations like this. When you let people go awry, some people just get tired of it. They made a movie called Death Wish where the guy got sick of his shit and he was doing it. He was a vigilante, but people get tired, man. People get tired watching their city burn. People love this country.
And I will say that I think the only thing that the liberal media got right was that it will embolden more people to do it, right or wrong. But listen, it's not wrong to have this violence in the streets because you don't like what something happened. You can't just guess what? If you do that, then this is going to happen, and it's going to keep escalating until guess what? Until we more people are killed on riots versus this fucking pandemic we're supposedly having.
Maybe there'll be a little bit of a deterrent. Maybe people will deter people. Who knows?
Yeah, here's a funny story.
Mark,
if you were driving down the highway and you saw cash flying everywhere, just everywhere, like thousands and thousands of dollars flying, would you stop to get some cash?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you'd have to, man. I don't think there's any person that wouldn't stop. I mean, first you would stop and see why there's money flying, if someone's hurt, and make sure no one's fire anywhere. But then the second thing is, wow, money, yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, well, it's funny because armored truck spills money all over a highway, and there's all these people collecting it. And don't people learn? Listen, first of all, if I was going to stop and collect all the money, I'm not going to get in front of a camera and go, hey, look at me. You know what I mean? I'd be like, fuck you. You know what I mean? You're walking like this and shit with my money. You know what I'm saying? And a few people got arrested and they were like, why am I getting arrested? Well, it's not your money. You know, it's one thing if you find a
If
$20.
you get a good lawyer, you could say, "Well, I was getting the money to give back to the
Yeah,
person, and
I was
I
going to
was trying
return
to
it.
find out the right person to give it to." You get
Yes.
the right lawyer, you probably can get away with
Listen,
it.
I gathered about $3,000 in cash off the street, and I figured, I wonder if the strippers at the Cheetah 3 lost this money. I'm going to go see those ladies and ask them if this is their
Because
money,
that
and I'm
seems
just going
like
to give it
cash
to 'em.
that nobody's gonna, if someone drops their wallet in front of me, and there's cash in it, I'll pick it up and say, "Hey, you dropped your wallet." But if you just see
Mhm.
money flying anywhere and you don't know where the money goes to, I think Mother Teresa would stop and grab a 20. I think she would.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. I'd be like, you got to stop, but I wouldn't get greedy. The question is, you stop and go, and then either way, again, part of it is just too much because then you might feel guilty, right? I mean, but you're right because there's something about the amount of it. If it's flying
Yeah.
everywhere, like who's going to miss it? Who's going to fly it? I remember one time I was when I had my Corvette, I left my wallet on top of my roof. And I went out and I went somewhere to get dinner and stuff. And I realized when I got to dinner, I didn't have my wallet. And poof, it hit me. I left it on the fucking roof. And I drove back to my old condos when I lived in the townships and I had a condo. And I get there and some guy's walking his dog with a flashlight. And I go, sure as hell. And I go, did you find money? He's like, no. I go, why do you walk? Did your dog shit all over the place? You're trying to pick up all the shit.
I
And
found
it
an empty
turns out,
wallet. Here you go.
yeah. And then luckily enough, the guy was looking because he probably found a little bit of it, but I ended up finding like a wad of it and there was money scattered and I picked it up and I found the wallet and shit. And then the guy ends up coming over because he obviously realized my story was valid. He came over and gave me with the money he said he found. Who knows how much more of it he found. That's crazy.
First
But
of all, you don't know whose money it is. It could be a cartel's money too, man. You might be stealing somebody's money that's pretty powerful. You got to think about that too.
that's why if it happens incognito, like they saw that guy robbing the Louis Vuitton store, right? They saw that black guy who had the medical mask on his face and he's walking out. I don't think any of the clothes that guy had would fit him. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty fucking funny. Here's another story. I don't know if you like wrestling or not. I'm not a big wrestling fan.
I know what it is, so I can watch it because I don't take it serious. I don't think someone's really getting hit head with a brick or getting smacked in the head with a chair. But it's what, 7'2" guys jumping around doing backflips. Pretty cool, pretty entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the old days in Florida wrestling with Dusty Rhodes, Gordon
Sure.
Soley. I used to love watching that. And those
Giant?
guys were really, Andre the Giant, Joe LeDuc, the Briscoe brothers. I mean, this was fun
Bob
shit, right?
Putski.
Ivan Von Putski. And remember the guy with the claw? Remember Van Buren with his a claw?
Oh yeah.
The claw?
Well, Mankind did that too with the little puppet.
Yeah.
That was a little later on.
I had a heart punch. That was my thing in middle school. I had the heart punch. I love the heart punch. Well, I remember when I had three older brothers, so I had all my friends like, wrestling's real. And my first part about being cool was I said, there's not real. And these kids are like, well, how do you know it's not real? Because my brothers told me to say this, because you can't bet on it. Yeah. It's a sport you can't bet on, which tells us it's scripted. Well, this is great because in WWE, which is a big Monday Night Raw show, man was arrested for actually attacking Seth Rollins. I watched the video and I thought, oh, this is just somebody. It was a real fan. A real fan attacked the
People
fucking
get
guy.
into that shit, man.
I couldn't.
You ever been to a big wrestling match? People get in, people crying. I went one with my son, not to get off the subject, but I went with my son at the WrestleMania. And I expect to see a bunch of little kids like, oh, my idols. They're all 50, 60-year-old men that were like crying, like, go get him, Rock. You can do this. And they're like screaming, crying, like real tears. Like, he might lose John Cena. They take that shit serious.
Oh, it's crazy. A 24-year-old man was arrested and charged with attempted assault after attacking WWE wrestler Seth Rollins on Monday night. Yeah, it was funny. He attacked the guy, jumped on him, and then security gets all over it. And it was funny because the wrestler was like, I don't know how to fight. I don't know.
I'm sure he was big enough to handle this guy.
Yeah, but he was like, I don't know. It was so real.
Is this a real fight? Hold on a second. This is not in the script,
Yeah. He was funny. Like, exactly. Did I miss rehearsal or something? But yeah, during the episode, the weekly wrestling show broadcast from the Barclays Center, he was leaving the ring and walking up the ramp when a man ran out and tackled him on the ground. Officials quickly came rushing and beat the shit out of him.
What are people thinking, man? Like, what's in people's minds? Like, people really take shit serious, man. Like, what today I'm going to attack a wrestler. It's what are you
He
thinking?
beat up my favorite wrestler. How dare you?
Well, he probably was
Guys
his
was
favorite. Probably didn't like him because he beat one of his favorite wrestlers. Exactly.
yeah. The guy was 24-year-old. His name was Elijah Spencer. He was arrested in connection with the incident after
Mhm.
jumping the metal barricade to attack Rollins. He's been charged with attempted assault and attempted violation of the arts and cultural affairs. So good for him.
So wrestling ends up being a dangerous sport. Even the fans come after you. I told you it was a dangerous sport. It's real. See?
Yeah, that's always funny when some of these people say it's not real. Then the wrestler punches whoever asks them that question. And that's what I do
Exactly.
as a martial artist. People always go, "What would you do if I did this?" What would you do if I did this?
But you know what's
So
funny? You say wrestling's not real, and I get it, but there's a lot of real aspects of wrestling, man, because they got to make it look so good. Like a lot of people have gotten seriously injured, and some people even died, through
yeah,
through it because you got to make it look so real. Sometimes you do get hit with a right or get hit with a left, and sometimes they jump on you off a ladder and they really connect. I mean, there's been the stories of people getting severely
yeah,
damaged.
yeah. And there's been
There's
stories about
still some
wrestlers who
people.
the guy hit the guy too hard, and then the guy turned into kind of a real fight. You
Wouldn't
know?
that be funny if you
Uh,
really seen that?
oh goodness.
But then you got those
Uh,
backyard wrestlers that are fucking out of their minds. They have they have what is that called? The blades, and they cut people blades, and they jump off houses, and those people have their
yeah,
minds.
yeah. That's nuts. I've been watching a lot of they have these other like makeshift MMA fights with these kids from the street. They put a fence
Oh yeah,
around
that's where it
and they
started,
show
man.
these
That's where it started.
yeah. They show these amateur fighters trying to beat the shit out of each other. There's nothing funnier to me than watching a guy who's trying to be a badass who doesn't even know how to punch.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
like
and he
yeah,
gets knocked out. Well, my favorite is when you got these guys, whether it be an MMA or just street fights, and they like talk all this shit in the world, and they get knocked out one punch. It's like, motherfucker, I'll kill you, I'll kill you, crack. Holy
yeah,
shit, the fight's over. You
yeah.
know, that's the
I love
worst because the buildup.
yeah, I love when somebody who's a shit talker gets his ass beat. Right?
Oh yeah,
I
it's my
mean,
favorite.
my,
I remember that. Go ahead.
no, I was just say the one fight I put on Facebook years ago was from a fight that was 12 seconds. And when
Uh-huh.
we're at the weigh-in, the guy was calling me chubby and this and that, and because he was like 6'4", like 250, and I'm 5'9", I was 210 at the time, and he was like, "Look at this guy, I'm gonna beat his ass." And he was making fun of me and shit, and I broke his leg in fucking
Never
12
know,
seconds.
brother. You don't know who you're messing with. You never know.
No,
Hey, I got to tell you a
never know.
funny story just to bring that up. When I worked in the prisons for a couple of years when I got out of the military, and I worked at the downtown jail. I'll never forget this. There was a skinny transgender, not that this is the part of the story, and we called her Princess. It was a guy, transgender, and weighed about 140 pounds. This woman, man, whatever it was, and this big guy that we called him Big Dog. He was like, man, he was bigger than me. He had to have been at the time maybe 240, but solid, man. Just he'd go in the yard, just throw plates up. So a little princess came up to me like, I'm gonna knock Big Dog out. He's taking my cornbread and he's telling me all this stuff. I'm like, relax. You're not gonna do anything. Just relax. No, I'm gonna do it. I said, okay, go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and do it. Because I'm like, yeah, you're gonna beat up this big guy. It didn't even make sense. Oh, you go, girl. I said, you go, girl. You take care of business. Next thing I know, a tray comes, boom, hits him with a metal tray, and just hands of steel. This little person beat the shit out of this big guy. So they're pulling him out, thinking like three guys because just so much excitement and everything. And she's the person screaming, Deputy Camus said it was okay. Deputy Camus said it was okay. I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about, man. But I'll tell you what, this little person just whooped this big person's ass, man. I mean, like we had to take him to the infirmary. I mean, he was done. He was done.
You
And I'll
think
tell
he
you
didn't
what,
want
he
to?
was the new king of the pod. New king of the pod. Princess was the new king
Yeah,
of the pod.
he didn't want. Maybe the guy didn't want to hit a girl. Maybe he didn't want
No,
to actually hit a girl.
I'll tell you what, he was taking his cornbread like he owned them. And listen, man, like you said, you can't judge a book by its cover, man. I fought big guys and I've done pretty well, and I fought little guys that gave me a lot of headache, brother. You never know what you're gonna see, man, what you're gonna deal
Yeah.
with. You don't know what people know, especially today.
I never had.
It's not like the
I
old days.
No, I never had a problem fighting muscle guys because muscle guys are like good-looking women that don't have to develop a personality. Like big muscle guys never really fight because they
No,
intimidate their
no.
opponents, right? So they actually
Yeah.
never get to right. But the guys like you said, the smaller ones, the scrappers,
Yeah.
they're the ones that've been in a bunch of fights.
Plus,
I
they're
never had a
flexible and they
problem.
can move their hands.
Yeah,
A lot of
dude,
big guys can't fight.
I several occasions when we were in high school on the beach with these Taravella guys beat the shit out of some of them. You know, they're all steroided out and shit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Next thing you know, pop, 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 4 or 5 hands to the face, and they're like, "What the fuck happened?"
Like you said, they didn't
You know,
expect the fight. They expected them to say, "Hey, yo, get out of my face," and you just walk away. And
mhm,
like I
exactly.
said, it's a different time now. Everybody knows something, man. There's women
Uh,
that can kick our ass right now.
oh yeah, well, right now I can barely
Wow.
walk, so I agree with that. Hey, one of the last stories I wanted to share with you, since we're on trials and the Rittenhouse case. You remember you remember that kid Tamir Rice?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. You remember? And Tamir Rice, poor kid. It's like a 14, 12-year-old kid
Mhm.
out in Ohio playing in a park with a toy gun.
Yeah, and they thought it was a
And I
real
guess
gun.
somebody called the police. The police came and the kid didn't listen. You know, who can
Most
you
kids
blame? A
don't.
kid for
Yeah.
they're not going to listen. And the cops shot the kid.
Mhm.
Right. And I can't remember. I guess the cops were acquitted. Right. The cops
Yeah.
didn't. They were acquitted because
A gun's a
who
gun.
knows?
No matter who's
The
holding the
gun's
gun, a
coming.
gun's a gun. Yeah.
Yeah. And now
And
the
kids,
mother
let
of
me tell you
Tamir
something.
Rice.
Kids shoot people, just so you know. 11 and 12-year-olds shoot people today. Yeah,
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah. People say, "How could it happens?" You're right.
Yeah, it happens.
Um, but his mom, with the Rittenhouse case, has said that the United, because of the Rittenhouse case, the United States needs to be overthrown. I mean, what a fucking, like, first of all, you can't just overthrow a government over. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, and she blamed the mother. Like, people are blaming Rittenhouse's mother. I'm like, wait a minute, you let your kid run out
Play with a
around a
toy
fucking
gun
park
by himself. Yeah,
fighting with a toy
exactly.
gun himself, but you're gonna get mad because the mother, the kid. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Plus, you should
Yeah,
listen. The kid didn't deserve to die. I get it, but you should teach your kid enough respect when someone comes up to investigate something to say yes or no, sir. It's a toy gun, sir. Here you go, sir. Listen. I don't know that whole case on that, so I'm not going to talk about it. But it's a lot of things are about respect. A lot of things can be handled the proper way before they get to the wrong way. And
yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
times, the steps, and that people don't want to take the steps. They want to be an asshole about it, and that's when issues happen, man.
Well, let's
That's
face
what
it.
happens.
This woman wants to get more attention. Quote: She
Yep.
said, "I'm very annoyed about how minor a white little boy is not in jail for the murder of the other people." Samara Rice told TMZ.
Yeah.
Again, the white boy. Listen, first of all, I don't mind being called a white boy. It's not like anything anybody says to me is going to make me lose my fucking mind.
No.
First of all, but let's get something straight. If you're gonna be using race and constantly bring up race, then don't get fucking mad when you're
It goes
racially
the other way.
profiled. Okay,
Yep, yep,
it's just you guys got to. It's got to stop one way or the fucking other.
yeah.
And I said this on my podcast because although the Rittenhouse case, I spoke, hey, it was clear cut self defense. The other case that's not getting as much press is the other case in Atlanta
Yeah,
with those
yeah, yeah.
the 3 white guys chased down that guy and killed him.
Killed him,
That
yeah.
to me is done. Those
Jogger,
guys are
this guy
going
was
to
jogging or
jail.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and the press keeps calling him a jogger. I mean,
yeah,
he was wandering. I mean,
yeah,
let's
he's yeah.
face it, we did not. But let's face, in that case, those guys are going to go to jail
Oh,
because
yeah,
they
yeah,
did not
yeah.
have. They
Just like
outstepped
the
their
other
boundaries.
just like the police officer went to jail with Floyd. The system
Yeah,
works, man. If you're the system does work, but you can't put somebody in jail for defending themselves. You can't put them in jail for
yeah,
certain things. There's laws, there's rules and regulations, and a lot of things can be avoided and that aren't
yeah,
avoided because people don't act right. People weren't learned respect and they haven't learned certain things. And that's part of
yeah.
the issue too.
Well, I just
Before
want
we
to
go,
make
I
that
gotta
clear.
tell you, a little something that we gotta talk about because we're talking about a lot of politics, Joe Biden, but there's a real problem that we're not talking about, dude. A really
What's that?
bad problem with the koala bears, man. There's one koala bear that giving all the other koala bears chlamydia because it's a real big issue with we're talking about something. This is a real issue. There's big cases right now where koala bears are getting chlamydia, and I don't know who's giving it
No.
to them. It's not me, but someone's
Oh
giving
fuck!
these koala bears chlamydia.
I have a big date with a koala bear later, so I better cancel that. Let's go out
But
to
they
dinner with a
say
koala bear.
40% of koala bears have chlamydia. What's going on with them? And now they're getting all these koala bears in Australia and they're giving them vaccines for chlamydia. So there's a dirty koala bear out there just handling business.
Somewhere there's a koala bear sitting next to a tree, going, "Hey, baby."
What's up? $10. What you got? You got some acorns? Come over here. You got some? What do they eat? The bamboo? Or is that a
No,
panda?
that's not discharge. That's just me getting wet for you. Yeah, I mean that's terrible. I mean, animal. How does an animal? Well, I guess I guess they're fucking. It's got to be sexually transmitted,
Well,
right?
it didn't know it's a sexually transmitted disease. That's what I'm saying. So maybe there's a whole prostitution ring for koala bears. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, they say a lot of animals are like humans, so there might be a whole thing about koala bears. Who knows? Maybe have like a little a light district, under a certain tree, a banana tree,
Yeah.
where you go there for 5 acorns and 2 bamboo plants. You get a little handy. Who knows?
Koala bears have a
Sounds
rub and
happening.
tug they can visit. Yeah,
Well, there's
koala bear. Hey,
40%
little.
of the koala bears are getting this, and they said it's sexually transmitted. It's from sexual transmission.
Well, it's not like a koala bear can go to the doctor and ask for a penicillin shot. So, you know,
But they're finding out
uh,
because now they're trying to save the koala bears in Australia because they're becoming close to extinct. So now, because I guess there's a big problem with that, along with probably other things.
yeah, to mention a few. Unbelievable. You have a story about Pop Tarts?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's actually a pretty funny story. So today, you could pretty much have a lawsuit on anything. Any little thing you can have a lawsuit on. This is a true story. It's kind of funny because you're like, no way, it's true. But some lady is suing, and I forget what state she is. I have it somewhere, but she's suing. She got a lawyer. Some lawyer took this case. Maybe the prosecutor from the Rittenhouse trial took it,
Hard
because
enough
he's
for
not doing
work.
so well right now. Exactly. He's hard for work, but she bought a box of strawberry Pop-Tarts, and I get her. Listen, I get where she's coming from. I really do, because I've had some bad experiences with Kellogg's, and there's some grievances I need to let out too. Okay,
Really?
I didn't get a lawyer yet, but maybe if she wins this case, I will. But she had a Pop-Tart, and she bit into it, and there wasn't enough strawberry in it. The ratio on one half didn't have the proper amount in the second half. She contacted a lawyer, and they thought this was a strong enough case, and it's going to a trial.
So you're saying I haven't eaten a Pop Tart in a long time. And I don't think
Okay.
I've ever eaten the Pop Tart the proper way, like out of the toaster. I just usually eat them right out of the bag
Sure.
when I did eat them, right? But I always had the chocolate ones. I never had the strawberry one. So you're saying is that on the Pop Tart, it's almost like sometimes when you go to a bad pizzeria and once like there's hardly any sauce on one side of the pizza, but it's all on
yes.
one.
But that's because the cheese might slide. But this, I don't know. Kellogg's hat needs to be responsible for this one. Don't. I'm not letting this one up. She's right.
Yeah.
Listen, Rittenhouse is right and she's right. They're both right equally. You know what I'm saying? Because listen, you paid $1.89 for a Pop-Tart. They're probably $2 now, Pop-Tarts. You expect equal distribution. You should have on both sides the same amount of strawberry. There's no reason to eat one bite and get no strawberry. And this is gonna get 12 juries, and it's gonna cost taxpayers monies. And I might miss work. They might call me, but think about this, how crazy this is. Can you imagine what was your trial today? About Pop-Tarts? Yeah, it was a Pop-Tart, big Pop-Tart trial. Would somebody kill somebody from Kellogg's?
How much money can she actually win? I mean,
I think she's going for like $9 the Pop-Tarts. I don't know what she's going for. I don't know what the lawyer's trying to get at this too, but you won.
I want to be reimbursed for all the Pop-Tarts I've ever eaten.
Exactly, man. But that just goes to show you how fucking crazy that story's, kind of leads into more stories, because it just shows you how crazy this universe is, bro. That judge just said, get the fuck out of here before I lock you up talking about a Pop-Tart. Get the fuck out of here. What are you talking about? Can you imagine getting a jury? Oh, we find defendant guilty of Pop-Tart abuse. I mean, what the fuck is going on with this country, man?
Yeah. Fuck Pop-Tarts. Eat the toaster strudels. They're much better.
It's kind of like when I worked in the prisons, and we had a guy that would murdered 9 people, and he had one in his car. He drove around with a person in his car. He literally was a murderer. And he went to jail, he could get life in jail. And true story, he was a Muslim man. And he said that he couldn't eat certain meat. And they went to court, and they were they gave him special lunches. I'm thinking, is this anything about your religion, about driving around with a fucking person dead in your passenger seat? Is that part of your religion too? Or is that we just get past that when we go straight to the meat? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. You had no problem slaying 5 people, but you can't eat meat.
And if it's a religious thing, that should be a religious thing.
Yeah. You think thou shalt not kill it would be in there as well. Well, that's
so it actually went to court. This happened several years, a long time ago, but it went to court, and he was allowed to have a proper meal. And I was thinking, even murderers, can go to trial with the dumbest shit in the world.
Well, this is the world we live in, Mark. This is the world we live in. Let's worry about ourselves and not the greater good.
Hey, listen, man, I have great outlook on life, man. I just get the voice out because it needs to get out there, man. It ain't affecting me one way or another. Maybe sooner or later it will. I mean, I think our voice needs to be out there, and that's kind of why we do the show. You know, it's not like, you know, it's we get paid or we get millions of dollars. I just like getting our voice out and getting the other side. I listen to the one side all the time, and we never really get to hear the right side. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I don't consider myself a true conservative. I really don't, because I'm liberal about some stuff and I'm conservative about some stuff, but I'm about right and wrong. And sometimes you just have to tell what's going on. You know, people need to hear what's going on, because some
Mhm.
people just watch one side and they don't know. Like I was telling you, this one guy was telling me, oh, he killed 3 black people. No, he didn't. He didn't kill any black people, but they don't know because CNN doesn't tell you. They don't tell you the proper news. So
Yeah.
you just got to be
No,
educated.
harsh.
Yeah,
That's it. And that's what we do
Yeah.
here. This show edifies, if
exactly.
anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think we went over a little bit, but I'll tell you what, it was our first show. I'm very excited about it, man. Great seeing you, Doug. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving, man. You got anything going on?
Yeah, man. Like I said, eat, sleep, masturbate, drink, eat, sleep,
There you
masturbate,
go.
repeat process over and over
And
again
that's a
for
daily thing,
Thanksgiving.
so that's not a Thanksgiving thing. What are you actually doing for Thanksgiving?
Family, friends are coming over. Our neighbor has a earlier things. We have like 2 meals. Like the neighbor is asking us to come by around 12:30 in the afternoon, so we're going to do that. We're going to bring a little
Mhm.
potluck kind of thing, and then we're going to have something at our house around 6 o'clock. But
Exactly what I'm doing. I'm actually
I love Fridays after Thanksgiving. I always feel bad for the people that have to work the Friday after
yeah.
Thanksgiving. You know you've not made it if you got to go to work on a Friday after fucking Thanksgiving.
And it's
So,
funny.
I,
It's funny because I go to Maryland for my family, for my girlfriend's family, and it's funny because I just eat and relax, and I watch football. You know, I do the whole thing. You know, and it's funny because Friday morning, my girlfriend will get up early in the morning. It's like, you want to go? It's like 4 a.m, and I'm like, what, to save $5 on a vacuum cleaner? No, I'll pay $5 more and sleep in. You know, but she does that whole Black Friday thing. She likes it, but I think she just likes it. Not me, man. I don't want to fight people. I don't want to have crowds. I don't want to, you know. It's just not me, you know. I'd rather just chill and I'll pay the extra $10 and that's it, you know.
yeah, it's not worth that aggravation at
Yeah.
all. Not at all. So, well,
Or
that's
I
it.
can move to California and get a free vacuum cleaner. Just, you know, go
Yeah,
in there and just steal one. Get a Louis Vuitton purse. Why bother a shopping, you know?
that's right.
The laws are pretty lax there. All right. That being said, everybody, peace out. Enjoy. Do you have any comedy shows coming up, Doug?
No, I'm gonna be at Chattanooga at the Comedy Cast in Chattanooga, December 16th and 17th. So if you're in the Chattanooga, Tennessee area, please come by and see me. I'm going to be working
I
with
actually
Mutzi.
got to
Please
see
come.
Doug. We actually went to see Doug about a week ago, me and a whole bunch of people. And I'll tell you what, that was a great show, bro. You did a good
Yeah, a
job.
lot
You
of fun.
killed it. That was at Gatsby's. Oh, it was hilarious, man.
Yeah,
You
good
killed it,
stuff.
man. And you had a couple of brewskis before you went on with me. So we were at the house, we were drinking a little bit. And I'll tell you what, you pulled through, brother. You pulled through.
Not just
You
some
did a good
brewskis.
job.
You were making some serious liquor drinks, you had some whiskey
We
and
were
shit.
drinking some hard liquor, man. I seen you at
Yeah.
one point looking at me like, what'd you do to me, bro? What'd you do? And that
Anyway,
being
guys,
said, man, I do what I do. I buy and sell baseball cards. I'll be back on Monday. I'm going away for a couple days. You got something to sell me? I'll buy. And everybody, peace out. Enjoy what you do. Enjoy the show. If you like it, share it. We have a new platform now. We have these great people producing this show. I'm very excited about it. And I see big things ahead. I love it.
there you go, guys. Thanks again for joining. And like Mark said, share the show and tell your friends about it.
And
And
everybody,
we like.
everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay, everybody.
God bless
Peace,
everybody. Happy
everybody.
Thanksgiving to y'all.
You
Take
too,
care.
man.
Love
Happy
everybody.
Thanksgiving, Doug.